As Randy mentioned, I am Jennifer Seil, and I am the statewide Registered Apprenticeship Coordinator with Iowa Department of Corrections. I actually started my career with the Department of Corrections in 2012 as a correctional officer, and I will have to say that was a fantastic job, and I really enjoyed it. So, a little shout out to the correctional officers out there. So I'm going to talk a little bit about registered apprenticeships today and IUTs, and kind of give you a guideline on kind of what that looks like. If you have any questions, pop them in the chat. Randy will let me know when there's a question there, or I can answer them afterwards. Just a little overview. We do have the 9 institutions statewide, and we have registered apprenticeships in all 9 institutions. The Department of Corrections became a registered apprenticeship sponsor with the Department of Labor in 2015. So we have been doing this for a while and have had great success at it so far. We have over 30 registered apprenticeship programs statewide, and the registered apprenticeship programs that we offer, most of those occupations fall within the most industry sectors. I will note we have the 30 registered apprenticeship programs. That does not mean all 30 are offered in all 9 institutions. And I'll touch base on that a little bit later. So they do have to actually have the job there to have the registered apprenticeship available to them. We have 300 active apprentices statewide right now, and we have had nearly 400 apprentices complete their program with the Department of Corrections. So if you're not familiar with registered apprenticeships, I'm going to give you a little bit of the core components of the apprenticeship. The main thing is, in order for us to have a registered apprenticeship program, we do have employer. Employer is the foundation for any apprenticeship program that you have. In addition to that, we offer registered apprenticeship has structured on-the-job learning with mentoring. So that's commonly known as the OJT. And we have, in order for a registered apprenticeship, the shortest registered apprenticeship program is 2,000 hours, which is roughly 1 year. And at the Department of Corrections, we have a 1 year to a 4-year program. So that's anywhere between 2,000 OJT hours up to 8,000 OJT hours. Another key component to the registered apprenticeship program is the related training instruction. So that's the RTI component of it. That is the bookwork, the online training, and the DOL recommends 144 hours per year. So if you have a 2,000 hour registered apprenticeship program, we need to couple that with 144 hours of the RTI. And then as you go up in those hours, the RTI hours will also increase.
Hey, Jennifer, I hate to interrupt you, but I'm interrupting you. We're getting some notes that people are having a difficult time hearing you.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
We can hear you. It's just kind of garbled.
Okay. Let me know if that continues. I'll speak up a little bit.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So another key component is the rewards for skill gains. So that's kind of the earn and learn model that Governor Reynolds had started years ago. So that's part of the key component. As you increase in your skills, your rewards, salary, your pay will also increase. And then the final component of our registered apprenticeship program is the Department of Labor is a national occupational credential. So once they're completed with this program, their DOL certificate is going to be transferable and recognized anywhere in the US. So we do have some goals as the Department of Corrections for our registered apprenticeship program. And our first goal is to provide opportunity for incarcerated individuals, our clients, to receive occupation-specific training while working. And again, that goes back to that skills gain, the earn as you learn model. We also want to give a purpose to our clients and their lives while they're incarcerated. Another purpose of that also is seeing that completion of that certificate is obviously going to be employment upon release. And then education provides supplemental classroom, online, or self-study training that meets the demands and expectations of potential employers. And as mentioned earlier, that's a really key component of the Department of Labor, is to make sure that what they are being trained on, what they are learning inside the institutions is actually going to meet the criteria of the industry standards. And then another goal would be to reduce recidivism and to make our community safer. Okay, here is a list of the apprenticeship programs that we offer statewide. Again, as I mentioned previously, not all 30 of these are in all 9 of our institutions. So some of them, for instance, industrial sewing machine operator, in order to have that job, we actually have, in order to be an apprenticeship, we actually have to offer that job. So this is one that we offer at Fort Dodge Correctional Facility. They have an amazing program in IPI that actually, they work with an outside contractor to make gloves and other material items. So they have this program there. It's not offered, for instance, at ICIW because there's no need for that job there right now. Cook Registered Apprenticeship is a great example where it is offered through all 9 institutions. So we do have dietary in our institutions, and so we do have Cook Registered Apprenticeships throughout the state. So this is a list of the registered apprenticeships that we offer, and as I mentioned, they're between 2,000 to 8,000 on-the-job training hours. Here's a chart of showing you what apprenticeships we have and the numbers. As you can see, injection molding machine operator, we have roughly 34, 35 registered apprentices in this occupation. You also see housekeeper as a popular one, welding as well. You might see or notice that, for instance, we have IT specialists. We only have 2. It's not because it's not a popular apprenticeship program. Again, the key is that we have to have the job. So not all institutions have a job for an IT technology specialist. Another example would be electrician. We have a little under 10 in the electrician program. Again, they have to have a job available, but also we have to meet Iowa code when it comes to having a master electrician with apprentices under them. And they're very specific on what that looks like. And so we are required to make sure that we do not put too many apprentices under a master electrician. So those are examples why you're going to see so many different, we have quite a few in housekeeping, but not so many in a job printer. These are examples why. We do have partnerships and training with outside entities. So we do have partnerships with state agencies to collaborate and partner with multiple state agencies to help with training, grants, employment, and reentry needs. DHS, IED, IWD, and Department of Ed we partner with. Employer collaborations is extremely important to connect with them statewide. It also allows employers to learn about individuals and barriers faced upon reentry. And it also gives us an opportunity to work with employers to find out what their reservations are about hiring a returning citizen and how we can help them become a second chance friendly employer. And then we work with community colleges for additional certifications. For instance, we do have vocational programming that we offer, and the certifications are generally under community colleges. We also use nationally recognized training, ASQ, NCCER, ServSafe, and Solid. So in 2022, the Iowa Department of Human Rights Division of Criminal and Juvenile Justice Planning started an evaluation of the Iowa Department of Corrections apprenticeship program. And there are 3 phases to this evaluation. Phase 1 is complete. Phase 2 is in process right now. And so I wanted to share with you we are very proud of this, some of the findings from phase 1. So what they found out is those who completed an apprenticeship program had half the recidivism rate of those who did not complete. So as you can see here, apprenticeship completers had a recidivism rate of 16.3%, whereas apprenticeships who did not complete an apprenticeship program had a recidivism rate of 32.7%. So the apprenticeship not complete I want you to note that they were still in the apprenticeship program. They just did not complete it upon releasing. And so the state recidivism rate at the time of this evaluation, the start of this evaluation, was at 38%. So even those who were enrolled into an apprenticeship program but did not complete it had a lower recidivism rate than those who did not complete any type of apprenticeship program. So I'm going to touch base now on the phase one again, the employment rate, Q4 post-release. So the highest employment rates were seen in those who completed an apprenticeship. Starting an apprenticeship had a higher employment rate compared to fiscal year 2018. So those who completed the apprenticeship program had an employment rate of almost 71%. Those who were in the apprenticeship program that had not completed it, about 55%. And then the total population for those who did not complete or were not enrolled in the apprenticeship had about 37.4%. So again, you can see registered apprenticeships, they are working. And this is a great one too. It talks about their adjusted wages. So their wages for Q1 post-release, those who completed the apprenticeship, about $7,800 that first quarter. Around $6,100 for apprenticeship not completed, but they had enrolled. And then you look at the prison population that were not taking advantage or are not enrolled into apprenticeship, about $4,600. And then we're going to look at the Q4 post-release. Completed apprenticeship, 8271, apprenticeship not completed, 69, and then the population that were not enrolled, 5,300. And so I want you to kind of, when we talked about those skills gains, this is a good example of that. So as they work through registered apprenticeship, as their skills increase, if you look, once they are released, their salary increase as well, their wages increase as well. And how do we make this all happen inside? Because it is a big haul. It is the work that we do is probably influences our clients and sets them up for success, but we cannot do this alone. So we partner with Iowa Workforce Development. They are in 5 of our institutions, and they have a reentry workforce advisor who is the registered apprenticeship sponsor inside the institutions. For the other 4 institutions, we have a reentry coordinator or a counselor or myself right now that is that sponsor for the institution. But they work with the clients from their interest, and to kind of get the interest out there, they hold seminars, sessions to talk about registered apprenticeships. They help enroll them. They work through the process with them, answer their questions, help them obtain their hours, to report them to the Department of Labor, help with the testing. They will help with the completion of the program. But in addition to that, we can offer the registered apprenticeship program, but if we do not have these other services that Iowa Workforce Development, I don't know if we would actually be fulfilling what we want to. And so IWD, they offer career planning for our apprentices and actually all clients inside the institution. But they offer career readiness assessments, resume writing. They assist with completing job applications and interviewing skills. In addition to that, IWD does a great job with employer outreach. They educate employers on programs and services provided in correctional facilities, and that includes registered apprenticeships. They conduct incarcerated individuals with hiring employers. They coordinate job fairs. We do like to have job fairs throughout the year at our institutions, and they facilitate video interviews as well. So that's kind of a rundown on our registered apprenticeship program and kind of what that looks like inside. It's very basic. So if you have any questions that I did not touch on, please put them in the box and the chat. I'm going to kind of transition into what an IET is. And so this might be new to you on what an IET is. You may be familiar with an IET, but not what that looks like inside a correctional facility. But an IET is an integrated education and training certificate. So the IET program helps adults who lack basic skills, relevant occupational skills, and essential workplace skills to attain the competencies and credentials needed for in-demand careers. And we find the in-demand careers working with the labor market with Iowa Workforce Development. And so we had an opportunity, a group of us, to become part of a statewide leadership academy. So right now, there are, I believe, 5 Department of Corrections nationally that have an active IET inside their institutions. We are going to be one of the first as well. And so we applied and were accepted into the State Leadership Academy. And so the IET, the purpose of it is to align IET policies and practices between the state adult education and correctional offices. So we know sometimes bringing a program into an institution, into the Department of Corrections, we have the state policies, but we also have the DOC policies. So how are we aligning those to make sure that we're offering a program that is going to be long-term and successful? We also identify and leverage cross-agency resources. So we have funding is a great example of this. Where can we find the funding to bring IETs into the institutions? And then the part of the State Leadership Academy is to complete research and assess the program for program design. And then the final stage of it is design and plan our program, develop and implement the program, and evaluate and improve, because we want this to be a long-standing program within the institutions. And so all of these are really crucial for us to achieve that. So the Integrated Education and Training and Corrections, our State Leadership Academy group is myself, Jen Anderson, who is an IT specialist too at Iowa Department of Corrections, Rohi Sala, she is our post-secondary education coordinator with Iowa Department of Corrections, Rochelle Seitz, who is the Reentry Operations Manager at Iowa Workforce Development, Susan Rutz, she is a life skills instructor at Fort Dodge Correctional Facility, and she is with Iowa Central Community College. And then Michelle Schott, she is IET coordinator for Des Moines Area Community College. So part of IET falls under the WIOA Act, the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act, and there are requirements that we have to meet for IETs to be in corrections and IETs in general. WIOA requires that the services of IET be provided concurrently and contextually, meaning that the adult education and literacy activities, workforce preparation activities, and workforce training activities are each sufficient in intensity and quality. Based on the most rigorous research available, simultaneously occurring within the overall scope of the IET program, and using occupationally relevant instructional materials. So an IET has those 3 components, and we are required to have all 3 of those components for an IET. The great thing about an IET program, as you remember, I was talking about our registered apprenticeship program, and the shortest program that we have is 2,000 hours, and it goes up to 8,000 hours. So anywhere between 1 to 4 years. An IET program is a short-term program. So it can be a few weeks, it could be a few months. Why that is important for us, the average length of stay, for instance, for the women at ICIW is about 9.5 to 10 months. The average length of stay for in the men's facilities is roughly around 20, 21 months. So you can see the registered apprenticeship is not a one size fits all. We want to make sure that we put someone in a registered apprenticeship program that is going to have an opportunity to complete that. Not only is that the integrity of our program, but we also don't want them to start something and then stop it and not walk out with some type of credential. An IET will provide opportunities to those who maybe will not be eligible for a registered apprenticeship program. So that's the key, one of the reasons we would really like to get IETs into institutions. So why invest in IET programs and corrections? IET programs are an evidence-based strategy. They combine adult education and literacy, workforce training, and workforce preparation to offer contextualized instruction for learners. IET programs allow learners to accelerate their progress along a career pathway by improving their foundation, employability, and occupational skills at the same time. So you see that we're going to be offering an adult education component, but I cannot stress enough our partnership with Iowa Workforce Development and what we do with Rochelle and her team to offer that workforce training and workforce preparation is key to this. And that's where we're really going to be working with those employers as well. So that was a little rundown on IETs. I did not want to get too much into it because it is a lot of information at once. But again, any questions in the chat, please put them in there. I did want to share with you our apprenticeship contacts at each of the institutions. So if you have any questions, or if you're an employer and you are in one of those areas, you're more than welcome to reach out to them or myself. Right now, I am the sponsor at 2 of the institutions until we find someone to fulfill the role there. So if you know anyone in the Anamosa area or Iowa Correctional Institutional area that's looking for, please watch to apply. But here's the contacts, and I can share this slide, this presentation with Luke and Hannah, and they can send it out. But this is the information. And let's see here. And that is what I have for my presentation. If you have any questions, please ask. I also dropped in some helpful links for you for the Department of Corrections, IPI, the Earn and Learn website, and the Department of Labor website. But Randy, are there any questions at all?
There are. I think one of them you've already answered. Is there a breakdown of what apprenticeships are offered at each institution? And I believe you covered that. The next question is a follow-up of that. Is there a breakdown of how many are involved in each institution?
In each institution? I do have
Yeah.
that. I did not provide that in the slide, but I can certainly send that to Luke and Hannah as well, and they can send that information out.
Okay. Next question is, do the statistics take into account protective factors, risk factors of those in the apprenticeship programs compared to those who do not participate in apprenticeship programs?
I don't believe that they do. Katrina, would you? I don't believe that they do.
I mean, we could probably, take a handful of those people and check in on their risk and protective factors, but I don't believe in the study by CJJP that took into account, because you would have to be very specific on the precise protective factors or risk factors that you're looking for. And so I think that question was from Sarah.
Yeah.
Yep. So Sarah, I think that the CJJP study did not go into that because we would have to be very specific on which risk and which protective factors, that we were taking into consideration.
The next one is about barbering apprenticeships. Are there any struggles for those who do the barbering apprenticeship getting licensed through the State Board of Barbering and Cosmetology?
There is not at this time. So when Dane was apprenticeship sponsor previously, he worked with legislation to actually put it into code where they're actually able to sit down and take the barber registered apprenticeship to take the final licensing for that. So we haven't had any issues.
Hey, Jennifer, you're fading out again. Can you like talk louder?
Yeah,
And maybe redo that.
Yes, I can. So Dane Salentic, who was previously in my role, he is now the director of apprenticeships with Iowa Workforce Development. He worked directly with legislation to put it into code to help, I would say, to put it into code where they can sit down for their licensing. So, and Governor Reynolds also passed, I don't remember the verbiage for this, but it is case by case when it comes to licensing. So she does not want someone's criminal history to prevent them from licensure. So an example with that would be electrician. So if certain charges may prevent that, that you will be able to appeal and still apply for your license, and it's case by case basis.
Mhm. Jennifer, do you think you could share a little bit about the new, about maybe our site visit to Missouri and what that might bring to Iowa DOC?
Absolutely. So the Department of yes, the Missouri Department of Corrections, we have a great partnership with them. Our director has a great connection and great partnership. They have invited us to visit Vandalia Institution, and this is a women's institution where they offer amazing programs. And one of the programs that they offer is cosmetology. And it is something that we would like to look into offering here in the state of Iowa at our institution. And so we will be going out there early summer to look at that program and a few other programs that they have, and to kind of have them assist us on what that looks like and the hoops that we need to jump through in the state of Iowa to start that hopefully at our women's institution. So we are really excited about that and extremely thankful for Missouri's Department of Corrections. They have some great programs going up there.
Okay, that's awesome. One more question is, have you identified the types of occupations that will be best suited for the short-term trainings?
That is part of our State Leadership Academy. So is kind of going through that process. Right now, where we are, we will be going to Washington, D.C. in August. And that is where we're actually going to be doing the deep dive into it and identifying those programs. We are interested in possibly 2 institutions to kind of pilot this, but we are just waiting on executive leadership to make that final determination if they'd like to see that there, which I'm sure they do, but pilot is always a different, piloting something is always a little bit different. So when we get to Washington, D.C., we will definitely have more information on what we will be doing. If anyone has suggestions or, you're more than happy, I'm more than happy to hear you out on what you think. You can shoot me an email. My email is on this last slide. And if it's a potential to partner with you, we definitely would, like to look into that as well. So.
Does anyone have any more questions for Jennifer? This is like amazing stuff.
Thank you, Randy.
Yeah, no, this is like phenomenal. All right, well, Jennifer, I will let you take a gander at the chat because there's a lot of comments and compliments.
Thank you. I will do that.
All right. Hannah, I'll